everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name is Anissa and I usually post about fashion, beauty, hair care, and things like that. And I know this is a little bit different of a video talking about the new iMac. It's a review, but it does tie into my my niche altogether, and I'll explain in this video how. Just a disclaimer, this isn't meant for like anyone who's really into tech and looking into this video trying to like hoping that I'll talk tech specs and everything. I'm not. It's more so for people who are looking for new devices to work as content creators on, or just as creators in general. So if you're into Photoshop or any of the Adobe programs, but whatever you're using is really slow or not working, and you're thinking about getting maybe the new iMac and it just seems really interesting, but you haven't seen any reviews on it, that's kind of what this is, because I use them, the Adobe programs. So this is that review. If you do choose to watch this, and if you're a tech person and I'm butchering all of the tech names, please don't come for me. I am not a tech person. I try really hard to read about tech specs and all the techie names and techie special words, and I don't know. Please don't come for me. Anyway, moving on. Before I get into the video, please make sure you like and subscribe, and if you're a content creator as well, please let me know if there's any tips or tricks you would like for me to just explain in any future videos, because it is super important. And if I'm telling you the technology to use, maybe you'll want to know how I use the technology in better detail. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so I have some notes here because I keep forgetting the names of everything and the differences between each one, but I'm going to explain my process because the issue was that I needed a new computer in general. I never had a computer, actually. The last time I had a computer, I was 7. And it was my mom's old one. She had just gotten a new one because this room used to be her office. I was an only child until 6. And then my brother was born, so she moved me into the bigger room. The den in the house became her office, and the littler room of the house became my brother's room. Now my sister and him share a room, and I have the bigger room still. So I scored that one. But she left the old computer in here because I was like, well, don't get rid of it. I want to be able to play my little stupid CD games, you know, like the Bratz games and like the Barbie games and stuff you could like put into it. I was only able to play like once or twice because the computer was old and ended up breaking down, and I swore up and down that the devil was in it because it malfunctioned, and I swear I saw something. I don't know. Anyway, so I haven't had a real computer since. The closest I think I've had are laptops. I've had 2 laptops, a Lenovo and a MacBook Air. The Lenovo I loved. It was my first one. I'm gonna click stop. I'm sorry. One more time. The Lenovo I loved, but it was really heavy. It was a really big, bulky laptop. And when I started college and I needed to start taking a device back and forth between home and school, and I wanted to go work at cafes and stuff, a Lenovo laptop was not it. It was way too bulky. And I think Lenovo has lighter weight laptops now, but at the time it was just way too bulky and I didn't want to use it. So I went ahead and I was like, big girl purchase, I'm gonna buy the MacBook Air. And I decided to do the Air, not the Pro, because I knew the Pro had a lot of really good specs, but because I have a bad back and I knew I was gonna be carrying this in my backpack, I just wanted to go for something that was a little bit lighter, even if it was like half a pound. Any weight on my back like is great off of it. So I went ahead and got the MacBook Air 2017. It was 2018 when I got it. Best laptop ever. I still have it. And I've been using it this whole time, especially in quarantine. Like, I'll show you the before and after of my desk setup of having a laptop here and then to this. But the laptop is my favorite. I love my MacBook Air. It's like my child. And the reason I got it too was because I've always loved the idea of how Apple connects everything together. And I bet Samsung does too. But I have an Apple phone, and the idea of connecting an Apple phone to an Apple laptop and then an Apple computer, an Apple iPad, I already had the phone, so it was like, I may as well keep going. And Apple does really cool student deals during like back to school season, so I was able to get some Beats headphones with it. So I got really cute like rose gold Beats headphones, and I was literally carrying them everywhere. I love them to death. So it was like a huge thing for me. So, this past year, or past semester basically, I started taking some classes where I was learning about Adobe programs. And the only Adobe program I've ever had on my MacBook Air was Lightroom. Lightroom ran totally fine. It wasn't really a big deal. And if it ever did act slow, it was very rare. And it was just like during the editing process when I was trying to put like a preset on or something, it would just freak out and the preset would go on very slowly and always upset me. So during this class, we had to download Photoshop, InDesign, Illustrator, and what's the, I know the name of it. I'm blanking. Like Premiere Pro. Wow. Because I was like, it's not Final Cut Pro, it's Premiere Pro. Anyway, so I had to download all of those, and we were learning them, and another class of mine had to use Premiere Pro as well. So they all slowed down my laptop. The minute I downloaded all of them, they all started slowing down my laptop, even if I wasn't using them. Because I would always keep one open. So if I was working on a video project, I'd leave it open because I was in the middle of working on it, and I'd go to, Canvas to work on something else in my class, or on, Zoom would start whatever, and I would just open up the Zoom meeting, and, I would always have like one open, but I would never have them all open at once. I would very rarely have two open at once, but having one open just literally slowed down my laptop and made it so slow. And then when I started getting into video editing, for my classes in here, Premiere Pro was so slow, and I was like, I don't know how anyone does this. And I started watching how my teacher was editing, and the way she was popping up stuff, I was like, she's doing this fast. Like, she has some type of, like, her, whatever she's using is great. Because I try to click on the same thing, and I'm like 6 steps behind because she's already opened up, like, my thing is still loading. So I looked it up, and I found out that, it makes sense that Adobe isn't meant for laptops. And then I started looking more into it, and it was that my laptop is a 2-core processor. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm guessing the processor is what processes everything and makes things run faster or slower. And again, like, I'm thinking more in simplistic terms, and like processor means processing. If I'm wrong, correct me, tell me I'm wrong, whatever. So halfway through the semester, I was really upset, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna finish the semester off strong, whatever. But for next semester, because I'm a journalism major, and being a journalist in today's society, you have to be multimedia journalist. So you have to be able to take your own photos, do your own videos, write your own stuff and everything. And I'm already a content creator on top of that. So I'm already kind of doing all of that already, just in a less professional form. And it's just really hard already. So with all these programs, and these programs are very important as a content creator and a journalist. So I was like, I need something that's gonna be long-term that I can use after graduation, that I'll be using in my career, in my field. And I was like, I'm gonna get a computer. I'll finish it off strong, and then next semester I'll have a computer that I can work on, because I know not only in my content creating and then my future career, but I know even during my schooling, I will still be required to use Adobe programs. So I initially was looking at the iMac 21.5-inch 4K Retina display. That has a 6-core processor, and that seemed like a really cool idea. And the step up from it, I'll even put a picture here because, like, you'll want to see it. I think those are the ones I'm pretty sure I was using back in high school, like we were doing photo editing in, because I was in photography, and just in the lab of the classroom, I'm pretty sure those were the ones we were using. So I know those already, and I really liked them back when I was using them, so I was like, I may as well just get the same thing. But the step up from that I kept seeing come up was the 27-inch 5K Retina. It has a 10-core processor, and I was like, I like it, but I'll put it here. It's a lot more expensive, and I was like, I don't think I need something that high speed. And I was reading more about it, and it's really for people who are like film majors, I guess you would say, like college-wise. If you're a film major, I would recommend doing that because that's a long-term investment. That'd be something that you would be using for your long-term job career. But for me, who's doing like videos or 20 minutes or less, editing photos that if I'm not editing them on here, I'm editing them on my phone, or I can still edit them on my laptop. I just didn't see the need. And also, like, I can do a lot of things on this one already, and seeing And, you know, like, not even talking about this one, because this one wasn't even a thought yet. Just seeing people use the 21.5-inch one, they were able to do a lot of things on that one already and edit, you know, like 20, 30-minute videos on that one already and not have a lot of issues. So that's why I was like, I don't need something that expensive, but it is really pretty because it's bigger, and I definitely like bigger screens because that gives me more like workspace. So I was in the middle of thinking about buying the 21.5-inch one. I was in the middle of thinking about it. The Apple Day came up and I watched it. I was like, you know what? I don't have anything to do today. I'm still stuck in quarantine. I may as well watch it. So I sat here, I was writing an essay and I was watching it, and they unveiled the purple iPhone 12, the iPads, whatever, and then they showed these colorful iMacs come up. And I was like, oh, I've been looking to get an iMac. I may as well watch this part. So I actually stopped everything I was doing and I was watching it, and I was like, wow, those are amazing. And then they started explaining the specs, and because I had already pretty much observed the specs as much as I could of the 21.5-inch display one of iMac, I was like, this is even better than that one. And obviously, it's the new one, so it's going to be better. So I was like, the only downside to it was the fact that I didn't have an SD card slot. But I think that's because most cameras today are moving towards the Bluetooth download idea, so you don't have to, you know, you can wirelessly transfer everything to your phone or to your computer. You don't need a connector or an SD card to transfer it, but it's always good to still transfer it that way just in case. And it's always good to have them just in case. Like, so I still have a couple old cameras that still need it that way. My Canon, I can drop them to my phone and my computer, but I have a Sony like little like camcorder. That one, it needs to be plugged in like hardcore, like, you know, hardware to it, whatever. And sometimes I use that one. I don't use the Sony, I think it's a Sony. Or is that, no, yeah, I think it's a Sony. I'm not sure. I don't use it very often, but I do use it. It's when I'm going out places and I'm like, I don't really want to use my phone for all this videoing because I do want my battery to stay good. And it's better for vlogging, so that's why I really like it. But our phones are so high tech now that like the camera on them are amazing, and you can't tell a difference when like recording sometimes that someone's using an iPhone or a camera. Like it's crazy. So, but it's the idea that if I do use that camera, I would like to have an SD slot or as plug-in. And so with this computer, there were two options. There's the lesser cost one, and then there's this one. I got the this is an 8-core CPU and 8 GPU, and the other one, which is a little bit less, was the 8-core CPU, 7 GPU. That one also doesn't come with the USB 3 ports, which is the old school ports that you see pretty much everywhere. So that would be let me grab this, give you an example in case, you know, for those of us who don't know high-tech things. It's basically this. So if you have a charger, the end piece. The newer style that a lot of companies are trying to move towards, that a lot of the tech companies, like Microsoft, Apple, whatever, they're moving towards a different one called the USB 4. And it's supposed to have a higher like power to it. It's supposed to be a lot better. So the cheaper one only has the USB 4s. This one comes with USB 4 and USB 3 ports on the back. And I was like, well, I would like to have my USB 3 ports just in case of if I want to plug in my my vlogging camera, if I want to, you know, get an external port for an SD card, because I was looking at the USB 4 externals for SD cards, and they're a lot more expensive than the ones for USB 3s. So I was like, y'all scamming. Okay, so that was a huge thing too. That was like going back and forth between the cheaper one and the more expensive one. And first I was like, I don't need the more expensive one. I can go ahead and get the cheaper one. I won't need it. And I was talking to my friend, and she was like, well, this is your long-term investment for your business now and in your business in the future. You would most likely want the more expensive one. I was like, oh, don't talk to me about spending money. And then I was talking to my mom about it, and she was like, you know what, it's true though, like not only long-term investment, but also the idea of the ports, because having external ports aren't always reliable. So if you have to get an external port for something that then connects, a USB 4 to a USB 3, it wouldn't be reliable. So I was like, okay, whatever. So that is up to you if you're a person that really cares about the USBs on it, whatever. The 8 CPU and the 7 GPU, I don't really know what the GPU, I think the GPU is like the graphics per unit. I'll put like a disclaimer of what that actually stands for because I forgot what it meant. But I remember reading it really didn't like pertain to me because again, I'm not like a high producing like motion graphics, like movie producer type person. I'm not doing that. So again, like the 8 GPU would probably be best if you are a movie major, if you're a cinematographer or whatever. Probably be best for you if you're really into animation, things like that. For me, I was like, oh, I don't really need it. But then I was like, but what if I get into it? Or, I got into Illustrator. I never thought I was going to get into Illustrator. I never thought I was going to ever do Photoshop. Now I'm learning Photoshop. So you never know. And again, it's like, this is for my futures, for my career, whatever. So I ended up getting it. But the biggest things that like, other than the 2 different computers, this computer as a whole, the new Mac 24-inch, what really struck me was the camera, and the mic, because again, with the pandemic, everything has become remote, and especially with my field, being a journalist, they have definitely turned us remote. Most of us have decided to stay remote. A lot of companies have decided, you know what, we don't need the offices. You guys have all been working amazing remotely. We're going to keep you remote. So we're all staying remote, basically. There's quite a few companies that are going back, but a lot of us are staying remote. So the camera on this is a 1080p camera, which is great for Zoom calls. You got to step up your game for the Zoom call since you're basically going to only be seen by clients, by, people you're interviewing, by everybody basically over a Zoom call right now and probably in the near future. A lot of things will be held over Zoom. That's the number one thing. And then the mic on this, my biggest concern, I live in a house of 5 people, me included, and I have a little sister who's 8 turning 9, and a brother who's 15, and we're all very loud and we have dogs. So my biggest concern when I'm on a Zoom call with my teachers or whatever is that if I were to turn on my mic, you can hear my dog barking in the back, you can hear my sister screaming, my brother playing, whatever. And that's always been my concern. I always get really upset and I'm like, y'all need to shut up. I'm in the middle of recording. The mic on this, and I haven't actually used the mic yet. So if you go follow me on Instagram, I will update you in the story of if I've used the mic, and if I'll ask the person too, how's my mic sound? Does it sound different? Does it sound good? I'll update you on how the mic sounds. But the mic is supposed to only kind of grab you in front of it rather than your whole surroundings. So if and it showed in the commercial for this, basically for the commercial that they showed during Apple Day, that there was a woman, she's sitting there on her computer, she's in a Zoom call, and her kids and her husband are playing like right by her. Like they're like right there playing, and whoever she's Zoom calling with can hear her clear as day and they can't hear them. And I'm like, that's super important to me. Like I'm in my room, so, and you can hear my dog barking, you can hear people talking in the back and have my door closed and everything. So the idea that with someone right next to you kind of being loud and it cuts you off, I'm like, that's really cool if it can cut everybody out from there. That was something that really picked me up, that I really liked. A little like perk to it was that if you bought the more expensive one, the keyboard, this button right here, it's a Touch ID. So you put your fingerprint in, and if you're logging into your computer, you do your Touch ID. If you're paying for stuff, Touch ID. Passwords, Touch ID, just like your phone. Like the older phones, because the newer ones, they're all Face ID. The older ones, it's all Touch ID, which is really cool, and I thought that was a really cool perk since I decided to go ahead and buy this one. some things I was always that kind of like turned me off when I started using. Oh, I wanted to show you guys the like sound on it. You probably won't be able to hear it as well on here, but the sound on it is amazing. Touch ID. Touch ID. Anyway, the sound on this thing is amazing. I don't want to get copyrighted, so I'm not gonna like show you some like, you know, play an actual song, but I don't know how well that sounds to you, but on here it sounds amazing. And I don't have it up that high. Yeah. Anyway. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Anyway, so the speakers on this thing is out of control. It's crazy. You can watch movies on it. It's like perfect. Again, it's 24-inch screen, so it's perfect. My sister came in here and she's like, "Can we watch Netflix and watch Boss Baby, the TV show?" I was like, "Sure." And we sat here and watched Boss Baby, and I was sitting across the room and I could see it perfectly. It sounded amazing. It's no joke. Couple things I was like, typical Apple, like expensive. I'm gonna show you the box right now. Hopefully I don't knock you over and knock myself over and break something. But the minute I saw this box, I'm like, I know $200 of this product went towards the box for no reason. Like, it should not. The box, every Apple unboxing is an experience, and I understand the idea. They say unboxing something should be an experience, right? I get it, because it makes you want to come back and buy it again. But when you make it where it's so expensive that then the product costs a lot, like, I don't know. I just don't know. And this whole experience of unboxing, it was literally like when I wish I recorded unboxing it. I forgot just because I was so excited to open it. But when opening it, I was like, oh, like that's how it felt, because the whole thing went flat when opening it, and everything like popped open in different compartments. It was like, does this open too? Oh, look it's something else. And it was like a whole experience. But anyway, so this is the box. The box is heavy. I thought the box was heavy because the computer has some good weight to it. This box is heavy. There's nothing in it. There's nothing in it right now other than box. Like all the like the crazy stuff when you open it that like is all stuff that you open again for more detailing that held the keyboard and the mouse. It's box. It's just box. Like, it's just heavy. There's no reason it should be this heavy. But then it has a handle, a material handle that matches your computer. So I got the green one, so my handle's green, which means you've got a purple one, it'll be purple, orange will be orange. The minute I saw the material handle, I paid for the handle. Apple. You know, that's just how I feel when I open Apple products or I see Apple boxing. I'm always like, I feel like the boxing and everything for it is like half of the price I paid for the actual product. It's just how I feel, and I love unboxing things. I love the feeling of unboxing things, but I feel like it's just much. It's just too much, because at that point it's just like I'm paying a lot of money for you to just make it like a whole. Okay, I got cut off, and hopefully I don't get cut off again. I'll just make this like real quick. The only thing about this keyboard that like I really don't like is that like I think it's because normally it has like a numerical pad right here, and like normally I would sit and kind of rest my hand onto it, but because it doesn't have it, I'm like thrown off. And I think it also is like an aesthetic type thing where this is small and this screen is huge. So in comparison, it just doesn't make sense to me. So I think I would like a bigger one. And I looked on the Apple website and I saw something about how they have this one, and then and when you click on it, like, it doesn't show you anything. Like, you click on it, you can't buy it. It only comes with the computers right now. I think it's just because they're trying to produce these. But it also says one with a numerical pad with Touch ID. I clicked on it, again, nothing came up. So I think they're working on making one with numerical pad, but it's like, do I want to pay $60-something or even $100 for a whole new keyboard later? Hopefully I can just get used to this one and not, like, hate it. But I don't know. I just don't want to pay it. And it's one of those things where I could just get another keyboard and just connect it that way, but it's like I want that Touch ID. So that's a whole like different thing. I don't know. My sister really likes the mouse. She's been threatening to take this mouse from me. She likes the way it clicks. She says it's really loud and she likes the clicking noise. Like, ASMR. I don't know. She likes the mouse and she wanted it. And I told her no. I like the mouse. But overall, this was a really good purchase. And again, like for a content creator, for a person who's in school, person who's into a multitude of things, I love it. And on my laptop, I couldn't watch a YouTube video and also work on Illustrator, because a lot of times I was trying to watch a video on how to use Illustrator, how to like do a tutorial, how to do Photoshop, whatever, and I couldn't watch it because one, the screen was way small and I couldn't see what they were doing and also follow along, or it just didn't work. It was just way too small. So on this, I could definitely do it. I can definitely have a video popped up open while working on Illustrator and it can teach me. Also on my laptop, it just was too much. Illustrator, the Adobe programs take up a lot of space. So having to sit there and have an Adobe program open and working on it and have a YouTube video going, it like would freak it out and it would just lag so much just on the actual, like on the Illustrator program, on the Photoshop program. So it just wasn't working on this. It just is totally perfect, totally works, totally fine. So if you're a creative person and you were thinking about buying it, I definitely would do it. I'm just a beginner and I love it. As a content creator who's doing a lot of video editing, I could not use Procreate on my laptop. I was editing, wait, did I say Procreate? It's not called Procreate. Premiere Pro. What is wrong with me? For a lot of times when I was recording my YouTube videos at the beginning of this, I was editing it on InShot on my computer, editing it on InShot on my iPhone, and I would finish it and just do some really quick final tweaks on Premiere Pro on my laptop, and it would take forever just to do those final tweaks and get to even download on my laptop. On here, I can do it all on here, not have to use InShot pretty much at all, and I really only use InShot for like my TikToks and Reels now, but I can even use this for that. It's just easier because I'm already recording it all on this, and it's just 2 seconds. But I can edit a whole YouTube video on here and not have to deal with it lagging. And then also on my laptop, I had recorded a 5-minute video for class. There really wasn't much to it, and it took 2 hours to download. On here, I recorded a 15-minute video, edited it, and had a million things to it, and it downloaded within like less than 20 minutes. It's definitely better. So if you are a person who gets frustrated easy and wants to throw their device out the window, like me, do it. Just get this. I'm just gonna wrap this up. Again, if you have any questions about content creating or about the computer itself, comment down below or message me on Instagram. I will be more than happy to answer and let you know. I just love it. It's literally like my baby now. She's mine. The only hard decision I had when picking it out was what color I wanted. It was between green and pink and maybe purple. It was hard. I almost went with pink, but I was like, that's a lot of pink, you know? Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And again, if you have any content ideas that you want me to produce for you, if you have anything you want to see, you want me to talk about, whether it's content creating, what programs I use, tutorials, hair, makeup, fashion, editing, for anything. I think I said it like already 10 times. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this and see you in the next video. Bye.